Welcome back to Z Coins. Today's video, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1973 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny. This humble coin, which most people have simply passed by in their pocket change, might be worth far more than you think. Whether you're an experienced numismatist or just getting started in coin collecting, this is one video you won't want to miss. We'll explore the history of the 1973 penny, its design, mint marks, varieties, potential errors, and current market value. So let's get started. First, let's talk about the historical background. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin featured Lincoln's portrait on the obverse or front, making it the first U.S. coin to depict a real historical person. The reverse design featured two wheat ears until 1959, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial in honor of Lincoln's 150th birthday. The Lincoln Memorial reverse continued until 2008, and that brings us to the 1973 penny. The 1973 Lincoln penny was minted during a time of economic transition in the United States. Inflation was high, and the cost of copper was rising, leading the U.S. Mint to consider changes in coin composition. The 1973 penny, however, was still made primarily of bronze, consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This composition gives it a heavier feel and distinctive ring compared to modern zinc pennies, which were introduced in 1982. Now let's move into the design features. The obverse shows the right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln with the motto "In God We Trust" above his head, liberty to the left, and the date 1973 to the right. Below the date you might see a small letter indicating where the coin was minted. No mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia. A D indicates the Denver Mint, and an S represents the San Francisco Mint, which mostly produced proof coins that year. The reverse features the iconic Lincoln Memorial, with the words United States of America above the structure, E pluribus unum in the center, and 1 cent at the bottom. If you look closely, you can even see a tiny seated figure of Lincoln inside the memorial columns. Now, let's talk mintages and how many were made. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 3.7 billion of these coins, the Denver Mint struck more than 3.5 billion, and the San Francisco Mint produced around 2.76 million proof coins. That means while most 1973 pennies are common, there are a few special cases that stand out, especially when it comes to condition and errors. So, what makes some 1973 pennies valuable? Let's talk about that. The most important factor in determining a coin's worth is its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with MS or mint state coins starting from grade 60 and going up. A 1973 penny in circulated condition is generally worth its face value or slightly more, maybe 1 to 5 cents. However, a 1973 penny in uncirculated condition with a high grade can be worth several dollars. For example, a 1973 penny graded MS 67 red from the Philadelphia Mint can sell for over $200 at auction. The red designation refers to the coin's original coppery luster, which tends to fade over time. Coins graded red are more valuable than those labeled brown or red-brown. Now, let's talk about proof coins. The 1973 S-proof Lincoln cent is a highly detailed mirror-like coin made specifically for collectors. These coins can be worth anywhere from $2 to $20 depending on grade and eye appeal. Some perfect PR70 deep cameo examples have fetched over $100 in online sales. One of the most exciting reasons to collect the 1973 penny is because of the potential for rare errors. These error coins can be extremely valuable. Here are a few you should watch for: double die obverse or reverse errors, which occur when the coin is struck twice with a misaligned die, can create doubled images on the lettering or design. A 1973 double die penny can be worth from $50 to hundreds of dollars, depending on the severity and condition. Off-center strikes are another type of error. If the design is noticeably off-center, and especially if the date is still visible, those coins can sell for $25 to over $100. Then there are clipped planchet errors, where part of the coin is missing in a crescent shape, giving it a distinct and collectible appearance. Finally, watch for coins struck on the wrong planchet, such as a dime planchet. These are rare but highly valuable and can fetch several $100s or more. Now, let's bring things up to date and talk about current market value in today's coin market, which continues to be strong thanks to online auction platforms and increased collector interest. The value of high-grade and error 19 73 Lincoln pennies is solid. A standard circulated 1973 penny might only be worth a cent or two, but a pristine uncirculated example, especially with full red color and no marks, can sell for $5, $10, or even $50. With the right certification from grading services like PCGS or NGC, values can soar. If you happen to come across a 1973D or 1973S in mint state red condition, it's worth checking out. And if you think you've found a double die or off-center error, consider having it professionally appraised. To sum up, the 1973 Lincoln 1-cent penny is a common coin with uncommon potential. While billions were minted, making it easy to overlook, the truth is some of these coins are worth real money. From proof coins to mint state red examples to rare errors, this penny tells a story of American history, economic change, and the enduring popularity of Abraham Lincoln in U.S. coinage. So the next time you're going through your change or sorting through an old coin jar, take a closer look at your 1973 pennies. You never know, you just might have a hidden treasure in your hand. If you're into coins, collectibles, and surprising treasures hiding in your change jar, then this video is definitely for you. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that millions of Americans have held in their hands without ever realizing its potential value. That coin is the 1977 Lincoln 1-cent penny. It might seem like just another common coin, but trust me, there's more to it than meets the eye. We're going to explore its history, design, errors to watch out for, and how much it's really worth today. Let's start with a little background. The Lincoln penny has been in production since 1909. It was originally designed to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Back in 1909, it was the first time a real historical figure had ever appeared on a U.S. coin. That design has stayed largely the same over the decades, with some small changes here and there. But in 1959, the reverse of the coin was changed from wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial. That memorial design stayed in use all the way until 2008. Now let's zoom into the year 1977. At first glance, the 1977 Lincoln cent looks like any other penny you'd find in your pocket change. It features the classic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the words "In God We Trust" above his head, liberty to the left, and the date 1977 to the right. The reverse side still displays the Lincoln Memorial with United States of America e pluribus unum and 1 cent boldly inscribed. So, why should you care about the 1977 penny? Millions were minted, so it's not exactly rare. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint alone struck over 4.4 billion of these pennies. Add in coins from the Denver Mint, which had the D Mint mark, and you've got well over 5.8 billion 1977 pennies out there. But here's where things get interesting. While most of these coins are worth just 1 cent, a small number of them have errors or special characteristics that make them highly collectible. Let's talk about some of those now. Point 1 of the most sought-after errors on the 1977 penny is the double die. This happens when the coin is struck more than once by the die, but slightly off-center, which causes the letters and numbers to look doubled. A strong doubling of the date, or the word liberty or in God we trust, can dramatically increase a coin's value. Some of these double die examples have sold for hundreds of dollars, depending on the severity and visibility of the doubling. Another thing to look for is a coin struck off-center. Off-center strikes occur when the blank planchet is not properly aligned in the coin press. These can range from a slight misalignment to coins where half the design is missing. The more dramatic the error, the higher the value. A 1977 penny with a 40% off-center strike could fetch $50 to $100 or more. Then there are coins that were struck on the wrong planchet. This is especially rare, but if a 1977 penny was struck on a dime or foreign coin planchet, it can be extremely valuable. These minting errors are highly prized by collectors and can sell for hundreds, even thousands of dollars, depending on condition. Now let's talk condition. Most 1977 pennies found in circulation have wear and tear. But coins in mint state condition, especially those graded MS65 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, can sell for a premium. A regular 1977 penny in MS65 condition can be worth around $10 to $20. That might not seem like a lot, but remember, you might have dozens of these coins in your possession. Even more impressive, a 1977 penny graded MS67 red, meaning it's in near perfect condition with full red luster, can sell for over $150. In fact, one of the highest auction records for a 1977 penny was over $200 for a coin in superb gem condition. So, what about the proof versions? Well, in 1977, there were no proof pennies made at the Philadelphia or Denver mints. The only proofs that year were struck at the San Francisco Mint, and those coins bear the S mint mark. These were made for collectors and came in proof sets. A 1977 S-proof penny in perfect PR70 condition can be worth $30 to $50 or more, depending on the market. As of 2025, the market for Lincoln cents, especially older and error coins, remains strong. Collectors continue to hunt for high-grade examples, and rare errors and values have held steady or even increased in recent years. With inflation and precious metals interest growing, many are turning to coin collecting not only as a hobby, but as a smart investment. So, what should you do if you have a 1977 penny? First, check the mint mark. Is there a D or is it blank? Then look closely for any doubling in the letters or numbers. Use a magnifying glass if you can. Also, check if the coin looks off-center or unusually thin or thick. And finally, consider the coin's condition. If it looks uncirculated with sharp details and full luster, it could be worth submitting for professional grading. Even if you don't strike it rich, the joy of hunting through your coins and discovering something special is what makes this hobby so rewarding. Plus, you never know when a simple penny could turn into a valuable treasure. If you're into coin collecting or just curious about what small change in your pocket could be worth a fortune, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1978 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that may seem ordinary at first glance, but has a rich history and, in some rare cases, can be worth a lot of money. Before you spend that penny or drop it in a jar, make sure you stick around until the end of this video because we're going to explore everything you need to know about the 1978 Lincoln penny, from its origins to how you can identify the ones that could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars in today's market. Let's start with a little background. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first United States coin to feature a real historical figure rather than the symbolic representations that were used previously. By the time 1978 rolled around, the Lincoln cent had already become a staple in American currency. The obverse of the coin features a bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, which has remained largely unchanged since its original release. On the reverse side, the design still featured the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., a design introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The 1978 Lincoln penny was struck by the United States Mint in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coins from Philadelphia have no mint mark. Those from Denver bear a small D below the date, while San Francisco coins will show an S. The San Francisco coins, however, were generally proof coins meant for collectors. The 1978 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which was the standard composition until 1982, when the mint switched to a predominantly zinc composition with a thin copper plating to reduce costs. Each 1978 penny weighs about 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. While millions of these were minted, making them common in circulation, there are several key factors that make some of them incredibly valuable to collectors. So, what makes a regular 1978 penny worth more than 1 cent? There are a few factors that can dramatically affect a coin's value: rarity, condition, mint errors, and demand from collectors. First is condition. Coins in mint state condition, particularly those graded MS65 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC, can sell for more than face value. A 1978 penny in pristine uncirculated condition with no signs of wear, strong strike, and brilliant luster could be worth between $5 to $20, depending on its grade and demand. Now let's talk about errors, the true goldmine for coin collectors. Minting errors on 1978 pennies can include double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, repunched mint marks, and more. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die obverse, where the details of Lincoln's face or the lettering appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the striking process. These coins can fetch anywhere from $50 to several $100s, depending on the clarity and severity of the error. Another thing to watch for is repunched mint marks or RPMs. This occurs when the mint mark was punched more than once in different positions. For example, a 1978 D penny with a clearly visible repunched mint mark could sell for $10 to $100 based on condition and visibility. Although there is no officially recognized key date or rare variety for the 1978 penny, there have been several noteworthy auction sales. For example, an MS-67 red 1978 penny sold at auction for over $250 due to its superb strike and eye appeal. Coins that have retained their full original red color are always more valuable than their brown or red-brown counterparts. Additionally, some proof coins from San Francisco, if perfectly preserved, can also command higher prices. A 1978 S-proof penny-graded PR70 deep cameo can bring in over $100 or more, especially if certified by a top grading service. If you have a 1978 penny and want to see if it might be valuable, here are a few quick tips. First, look at the mint mark. Is there a D or S or no mark at all? Next, check the overall condition. Is it shiny and uncirculated, or is it heavily worn? Then inspect closely for any signs of doubling on the letters or numbers. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look for any odd shapes, misalignments, missing edges, or other signs of a mint error. And finally, if you think you have something unusual, it's worth sending the coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. As of 2025, the market for collectible coins is still strong, especially for error coins and coins in exceptional condition. A regular 1978 penny in circulated condition is still worth just 1 cent, but an uncirculated MS-65 red example might go for $10 to $20. A coin with a rare error could be worth $50 to several hundred, depending on the type of error and collector interest. Prices are influenced by demand, collector trends, and the population of similar graded coins already in existence. Coins with eye appeal and certified grading will always command the best prices. So next time you're digging through a change jar, cleaning out your car, or just looking through old pocket change, take a moment to check your pennies. That 1978 Lincoln cent might be more than just spare change. It could be a hidden treasure. Remember the key things to look for: condition, color, mint mark, and errors. And even if your penny isn't worth hundreds, it's still a piece of American history that connects us to one of our greatest presidents and over a century of coin-making tradition. We're diving deep into one of the most common yet surprisingly valuable coins in American pocket change, the 1980 D Lincoln 1 cent penny. Now, at first glance, this small copper coin might seem ordinary, just another piece of spare change that we might ignore. But if you stick around, you'll discover why this little penny could be worth more than just 1 cent. In fact, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars if you know what to look for. Let's get started. First, let's talk about the history of the Lincoln penny. Introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, this coin became the first regular issue American coin to feature a real historical figure. Before that, most U.S. coins featured allegorical figures like Lady Liberty, but the Lincoln cent changed everything. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the original design included the wheat ears on the reverse, which lasted until 1958 and then was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959 to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday. Now fast forward to 1980, a time of economic inflation, gas lines, and big hair. The Lincoln Memorial reverse was still in place, and the penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which is important because just 2 years later, in 1982, the composition changed to mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. But the 1980 penny still had solid copper value and a lot more that made it special. Now, let's focus on the Denver mint version, the 1980 D Lincoln cent. The D mint mark can be found just below the year on the front of the coin or obverse. This mint produced over 5.1 billion pennies that year, so they are not rare in terms of mintage. In fact, you could find one today in your loose change or coin jar, but don't let The high mintage fool you because value isn't always about rarity, sometimes it's about condition errors and unique variations. So, how can a 1980 D penny be worth more than 1 cent? Here's where it gets interesting. First, condition matters. Collectors use a grading scale called the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70 coins in mint state or MS condition, especially those graded MS 65 and above, are highly desirable in MS 67 or MS 68 condition. A 1980 D penny can fetch upwards of $200 to $400 or more at auction. In fact, one particularly stunning example, graded MS 67 red by PCGS, sold for over $1,500 because of its pristine surface, blazing red luster, and sharp strike. But here's the catch: only a tiny fraction of these billions of coins survive in this near-perfect condition. Most coins circulated heavily picked up scratches, dings, and loss of luster, so high-grade examples are hard to find and therefore valuable. Now, let's talk about errors and varieties, which is where things really get exciting. Certain error coins can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, and the 1980 D penny is no exception. Keep an eye out for double die obverse errors where the lettering or date appears to be doubled. This can happen during the minting process if the die strikes the coin more than once out of alignment. Some known 1980 D pennies have minor doubling on the date or lettering, though not as dramatic as the famous 1955 double die. They are still collected and command a premium. Another type of valuable error is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet is not properly aligned with the die, resulting in a coin that is partially blank or misaligned. The more off-center the strike, the higher the value, especially if the date is still visible. For example, in 1980 D penny struck 50% off-center with full date and mint mark can be worth $100 or more. Then there are clipped planchets, where a small curved or straight piece of the coin is missing because of a mechanical error in the blanking press. These types of coins are always eye-catching, and the 1980 D Lincoln penny with a clipped planchet can fetch a nice premium depending on severity and visibility. One of the most exciting types of errors is the transitional error. Now, while no known major transitional errors exist specifically for the 1980 D penny, it's always possible for a coin to be struck on a foreign planchet or an incorrect metal composition. If a coin from 1980 is found to be struck on a planchet meant for a dime or foreign coin, the weight and color would be off, and such an error could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So always weigh your pennies. In normal 1980 D penny should weigh around 3.11 grams. Anything significantly lighter or heavier could indicate an error or wrong planchet. And don't forget about repunched mint marks, known as RPMs. This occurs when the D mint mark is punched into the die more than once at a slightly different angle, creating a shadow or doubled appearance. Several 1980 D RPM varieties exist and are sought after by collectors. A strong RPM in mint state could easily sell for $50 to $100 or more depending on grade and I appeal. So, what's the current market value of a 1980 D penny? Well, let's break it down. If your coin is worn and circulated, it's worth about 1 cent, maybe 2 for the copper melt value, although it's illegal to melt pennies for scrap in the United States at this time. But if your coin is in uncirculated condition with a high grade from a respected grading company like PCGS or NGC, you could be looking at values ranging from $5 to $50 for MS 65 or better, and well over $200 to $500 for MS 67 and higher. Plus, the sky's the limit if you have a major error like a double die off-center or clipped planchet in high condition. Always consider sending your coin to be graded and authenticated before selling it, or you might accidentally give away a treasure. Let's talk about where to sell or buy these coins. If you believe you have a high-value 1980 D penny, you can sell it on eBay at auction or through coin marketplaces like Great Collections or Heritage Auctions. These sites often bring in serious collectors and competitive bidding, which can drive up the price. Always provide clear photos front and back and describe any visible errors or special characteristics. If you're looking to buy these coins, make sure to check the seller's feedback and insist on graded examples if you want top quality and authenticity. So, to wrap it up, the 1980 D Lincoln 1-cent coin might seem like just another penny, but the truth is there's much more beneath the surface. Whether it's the classic copper composition, a rare mint error, or a high-grade survivor This coin represents a fascinating part of numismatic history and just might put some serious cash in your pocket if you find the right one, so don't overlook your change jar, don't dismiss the penny in your hand, because sometimes what looks worthless could be a small fortune in disguise. We talk about coins, currency, and collectibles that could be hiding in your pocket right now. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating story behind the 2006 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. Yes, you heard that right. A penny from 2006 might be worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent. So sit back, grab your favorite drink, and let's explore the history, hidden details, errors, and the surprising current market value of this seemingly ordinary coin. Let's begin with the basics. The 2006 Lincoln penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, which started back in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first regular-issue United States coin to feature a real person. The design of the Lincoln cent has changed very little over the years, and from 1959 through 2008 it featured the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. So the 2006 version belongs to that era, known as the Lincoln Memorial cent. Now here's what's interesting. The 2006 penny might look very common. In fact, billions were minted. The Philadelphia Mint alone struck more than 4.2 billion pennies that year, and the Denver Mint struck over 3.8 billion. With such huge numbers, you might think there is nothing special about this coin. But that's where you'd be wrong. While most 2006 pennies are worth just face value, there are a few rare and special ones that collectors will pay big bucks for. Let's talk about composition. The 2006 Lincoln cent is made of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper. That composition was introduced back in 1982 to save on production costs, because before that pennies were mostly copper. So 2006 pennies are considered modern zinc coins. This detail matters because it plays a role in some of the unique error coins we'll discuss later. So, what makes some 2006 Lincoln pennies valuable? There are several factors. The main ones are condition, mint errors, and grading. Let's start with condition. If you find a 2006 penny that is in brilliant uncirculated condition, meaning it has no wear and looks like it just left the mint, then it might be worth more than face value. Collectors often pay between 10 cents and 50 cents for uncirculated examples, especially if they have nice luster and no scratches. But if you get into coins that have been professionally graded, then the value can go even higher. For example, if a 2006 penny is graded MS67 or higher by a service like PCGS or NGC, it could sell for between $25 and even up to $100 depending on demand and quality. MS stands for mint state, and 67 is a very high grade. Coins graded MS68 or MS69 are extremely rare and could command even higher prices, especially if they come from special mint sets or have near-perfect surfaces. Now, let's talk about mint errors, and this is where things get very exciting. Error coins are coins that were made incorrectly by the mint due to mechanical or human error, and they are often highly collectible because they are so rare. Some of the most valuable 2006 Lincoln pennies are error coins. For example, there are 2006 pennies with off-center strikes, meaning the design is shifted and part of the coin is blank. These can be worth anywhere from $20 to $150, depending on how far off-center the strike is. Another valuable error is the double die penny. This happens when the coin is struck twice, slightly offset, so you see doubling in the lettering or the date. Although rare double die errors for 2006 have been reported and can sell for over $100 if the doubling is clear and dramatic, there are also examples of 2006 pennies that were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they were made using the metal blank from another denomination like a dime or a foreign coin. These errors are very rare and can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. Let's not forget about die cracks and cuts. These are small minting defects that happen when the die used to strike the coin becomes damaged. A die crack looks like a raised line on the coin, while a cut is a blob-like area, usually on the edge of the coin. Some collectors seek out these oddities, and depending on how dramatic they are, they could be worth from $5 to $50 or more. Now, you might be wondering how to tell if your 2006 penny is valuable. The first step is to examine it closely under good lighting or with a magnifying glass. Look at the date, the lettering, and the rim. Check for doubling off-center features or anything unusual. Compare it to a normal 2006 penny. If you see something odd, you might have an error coin. If your coin looks flawless and shiny, it might be worth sending it to a grading service for evaluation. Let's talk about some real auction prices to give you an idea of what people are paying. In recent years, several high-grade 2006 pennies have sold at auction for impressive amounts. One example is a 2006 penny graded MS68 red by PCGS, which sold for over $250. Another error penny with a dramatic off-center strike sold for more than $400. These are not your average pocket change coins, but keep in mind most 2006 pennies are only worth face value unless they are in exceptional condition or have rare errors. Still, it's definitely worth checking every penny you come across, especially rolls of pennies from the bank or old coin jars. You never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. So to wrap things up, the 2006 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny may seem ordinary, but it has a lot of hidden potential. Between high-grade examples and rare mint errors, this little coin could be worth far more than 1 cent. Whether you're a serious collector or just starting out, it's coins like these that keep the hobby exciting and rewarding. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content about rare coins, money mysteries, and collectible treasures. And don't forget to check your change. That next valuable coin might be in your pocket right now. See you next time, and happy hunting!